Alright guys, welcome back once again. I'm sitting here in the balcony. Right behind me, this is where Berlin airport is. If you come out, this is where you're gonna land. If you are new here, my name is Nikhilesh and I live here in Berlin, and today's video is about job seekers visa. Make sure that you watch today's video till the end. The person whom I'm interviewing, he has some positions open, and to know which positions they are, you have to watch today's video till the end. With regards to my last video, I had announced that I'm coming to India, and I've kept workshops in multiple cities. Here's what was my approach before. I thought that I'm gonna make people register on Google Form, and then from Google Form we'll make a WhatsApp group. And in the WhatsApp group, once everybody is added, we were supposed to broadcast a message which basically says, this is what the bank details are. To secure your seat, please go ahead and do the bank payment, which was 2,000 rupees. As I mentioned in the last video, it was very clearly mentioned there. Now, to be part of this workshop, we have kept a little fees to cover all our costs, because you know that space and logistics can be difficult for us to arrange. Per head, we have kept 2,000 rupees only. I know that's not heavy on your pocket also. Common sense is no more common these days. That's what I feel like. Even after, in the beginning of the video, I strictly told that this meetup is only for people who are interested in job seekers. But again, out of nowhere, there are random people who have joined. They've filled up the Google form, and ultimately, of course, we couldn't figure out who is actually interested and who's not. And we added them in the WhatsApp group. And guess what? All of a sudden, some people are like, wait a second, where am I being added? Based on that, people started leaving the group. Now, after adding some people and they leaving the group, of course, doesn't look nice, you know. And I've decided that this is not the way to go forward. This morning in the WhatsApp group of Delhi, there was with this guy who was like, you guys are doing this for money. तेरे को एक बात बोलना चाहता हूँ, समझ रहे हैं? जब मैं बाहर जाता हूँ ना, 35-40 यूरो का ना दोपहर को खाना खा के डकार मार देता हूँ. तो 2000 की बात मत कर कि हम पैसे कमा रहे हैं यहाँ पर. People who are serious will come for the event, will attend the workshop, and you will see this will happen. We don't suffer fools. If you don't have professionalism, just F out of this whole thing. If you're serious, I'm there for you, 100%. Okay, I've done this for years now. I've put out a lot of content and people have seen my work. A lot of people also came in my support saying that don't be bothered with these kind of guys. So all in all, what I've learned now in the past week is I think we need to have a strict control on this now. The way to tackle this situation, simply you need to follow a few steps now to secure the position in the workshop. These are the Paytm details and Google Pay details. Go ahead and do the payment of 2,000 rupees to secure your seat for the workshop. Once you have done the payment, this is the email ID. I want you to write an email, and in the subject line put your location, whichever location you're from. If you're from Hyderabad, you have done the payment, put Hyderabad in the subject line, and in the body of the email simply attach the transaction copy which you have done. Same goes for Delhi, same goes for any other city. Email ID is given here, subject line the city name, and the body should be with the transaction screenshot which you have done. Simple as that. Somebody from here then will get back to you. By this, we'll make sure that you have a seat, we have secured a seat for you, and no unnecessary people are walking in this whole workshop. And that's why I said in the last video also, there are limited seats. We do not want to have a huge crowd. That doesn't help. I want to connect with you guys one-on-one and to be able to deliver you as much as I can. Alright guys, welcome back once again. I'm sitting here with Deepak. He's here to share his experience of how he got job in Berlin in one of the startups at a very good position. Position comes with good salary.
And lots of responsibility.
Lots of responsibility. That's the last one. Yes. I want you to share your struggleful time when you were going through this transition from India and finding a job and ultimately sitting here in Berlin. But yeah, before we get into all that, Deepak, I want you to give us your where you come from, your education background, what kind of work experience you have had so far. Please go ahead.
So I'm from Gurgaon in India.
Okay.
I'm a software engineer in computer science.
Okay.
Yeah, I started my professional career in 2010 and I've been working as a software engineer over there in India in companies, in startups as well. And then in my previous company, I was director of engineering and leading a team of 15 people over there, 15 developers over there.
Wow. That means you already had a better life in India. What were you seeking then, huh?
Good environment for my kid.
For your kid, yeah?
Yeah.
You have a kid?
Yes.
How many?
one. She is
one daughter,
two.
okay.
Yeah, one daughter. She is 2 years, 5 months old.
Right. What are your core skills? If some employer is asking you today, Deepak, what is your core skill? What are those? Please go ahead.
My core skills is, I've been developing softwares in Ruby on Rails, Ruby and Node.js. And I also have done, a little bit of front end, but yeah, I prefer working in back end. And then if you have knowledge about the system architecture like technologies like AWS, EC2, RDS, these are, different terms related to Amazon, servers and all these things. These skills matters basically.
Right. In your job search process, when you were looking out for a job, again, it's a broad question for me to ask you, but which job you kept on seeing again and again, which skills they were asking? If you were to put them into descending order, top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I would say not in terms of technology, but in terms of, designation or a position kind of a thing. I often found full stack developer at the top. Full stack means you can work at the back end and you can work in the front end as well. For me, if a person who knows JavaScript has worked on Node.js and React Native has a much more chance to get a job as compared to other technologies. If you want the other technologies as well, then you have Java, Ruby, Python, then rest of the other technologies.
See, I often also get asked this question of like, what is the opportunity level when it comes to DevOps or system engineer,
There are certain laws, people might know them, like GDPR and all those things, where you have to keep data over here itself. You can't have your servers running in a different location or out of Europe or out of Germany, right? DevOps is a very important position. In company like us, or maybe even, where the sensitive data is involved, generally companies prefer to have local servers over here, and DevOps position becomes even more important there.
Right.
But AWS also provides servers over here, and if you know technologies like EC2, RDS, and then Elastic Cache, there are various in AWS in portfolio. So if you know those technologies, definitely it will, Also, if you have a coding background, then it adds up.
Right. Let's talk about how you got this job. The intention of people when they look out for jobs abroad is always somehow to get a job, right? But getting a job with a position is a very rare thing which you are in right now, okay? He's currently the CTO of his company. That already speaks a lot. That means you already had a good life back in India, right? When it comes to salary, position, you were quite happy, I'm sure, right? But if you were to keep the core points in front of everyone, how you ended up into this job, what would that be?
First of all, I would suggest everyone to have, work on their resume, and it should be precise and convincing.
How many pages?
Maximum 2. And it's always good to have it in one.
Right. I remember that day when you had this response from this company. Walk us through, how was that day?
So yes, I was looking out for the jobs, and I applied for some other company.
Okay.
But the best thing I did over there was, I got connected to the poster who posted the job.
Where was this all happening?
So this was happening on AngelList.
Okay.
Right. And I got connected to him on LinkedIn. So I looked who posted the job, who was having a conversation with me.
Oh, so then you went on LinkedIn to find this guy
and get connected.
Smart trick. Okay, next point. Yeah.
There was this another guy who's the CEO of this company, right? He posted a requirement or an opening for CPO, CTO, CMO.
Okay.
The basic core team.
Right.
And the other guy who I got connected.
Right. He liked his post?
He liked his post. And I was able to see it in my timeline on LinkedIn.
But if I understand correctly, when you saw this post and your mutual friend whom you became friend with, let's call this guy Bob.
Bob, yeah.
Right? So Bob liked someone else's post, and this someone else is the CEO of your current company.
Yes.
And then you connected to the CEO also.
Yes, I got connected. I reached out. I connected on LinkedIn.
So now Bob and Ryan, both of them are your friends.
Yes.
Okay, so Ryan is the current CEO. I'm just taking an example as a name. Okay.
So it's always better, just don't keep following. It should not be annoying to anyone.
That's so true. So true.
So I sit back. I was looking for some other opportunities maybe at that point of time, and then after 2 weeks, this guy Ryan came back and approached me that we see your profile as a perfect match for this and this position, but we were initially wanted to have someone quickly, and obviously your process for coming to Berlin will take some time. So but yeah, I mean, we can take some time if you are the right candidate.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So then they approached me,
Okay.
and the whole process of knowing them and interviewing started.
And what were the total rounds of interview you had to go through?
5.
5.
Yes.
If you were to throw some critical moments during this 5 rounds, what were they?
So my initial round was like we started with the introduction and what I've been doing, explaining them what my product, what I was working back there in India, and how I look into team dynamics, what are my ways of working as a whether you follow agile, scrum, waterfall, whatever. I mean, those were the questions related to the process.
Right.
And then there was this one round where they had code review for all of my code, which I did in my previous company, and I was like, oh man, they have to go through everything, each and everything.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest people coding over there, 2 points
Okay.
which they also pointed out in my code
Okay.
was to have a proper comments in your code, so that someone else who is coming in your
After you.
team can understand your code, which is very much missing in India. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we write, we write code and we don't care about the aesthetic parts or the other related part of it. And the second thing is, the test cases, the testing, unit testing of your code.
Okay.
It was there in our case, but not that extensive,
Right.
which they look over here. You should have unit test cases, integration tests, and whatnot. I mean, they look for everything.
Right.
So this was the round where they go through each and every aspect, how I have structured the code, how the application has been structured, what is the system architecture, whether it is a microservice based architecture or it's a monolithic app, or
So Deepak, just for your information, in about 1 month from now, in the month of October, I'm traveling to India. I'm keeping a workshop in a lot of cities in India, north, south, east, west. If you were to advise me something, that please look out for such and such profile, what profile would that be? Because I know you guys are in the process of hiring new talent.
Yes. I would suggest you to look out for full stack developers.
Okay.
Who has, at least 5 years of experience.
Okay.
Have worked on in the back end as on Node, and in front end on React or React Native.
Okay.
I think we are looking for people who has a full stack experience.
So that's priority number
one. And
priority
then,
number 2?
And then the priority number 2 is once you don't find full stack developers, you have to obviously divide into back end and front end. Now for the back end, I'm looking anyone who has worked on Node.js or Ruby, or Ruby on Rails, or just Ruby. And for the front end, I'm looking for React or React Native.
Right. Let's address the elephant in the room. How much are you going to pay them? Well, come on, man. I mean wouldn't you be interested if...
Yeah, my initial offer will be 60,000.
60?
Yeah.
Any relocation?
That depends.
Don't worry, I will advocate for you guys. I am the point of contact for you with this guy. But yeah, on a serious note, how many employees are you looking for?
Currently, I have 4 positions open right now.
4?
Yeah.
What are these?
All in full stack developers, back end and front end. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think we can I think this positions technically would be open until the month of October, and I'm pretty confident I will be the guy who will fill this up for you guys.
I'm hoping that it should get filled earlier, but it's okay.
Right. So Deepak, one of the key concerns for a lot of people who have spent, I would say, 8, 9, 10, 12 years of experience now in the industry, they have kids. Their responsibility is to put food on their table for their kids, pay for their tuition fees or home loan, a lot of financial commitments, right? What would be the ideal amount in a month if they were to live in Germany?
There are multiple things you asked in this question. Let's say they have kids, right? So you have to consider other factors as well, like the education over here.
For the schooling,
For the schooling is free, right?
Yes.
If you know German, then it's completely free.
Yes.
So for living with a kid over here, for a family like mine, I would suggest you should Yeah, the expenses for a month are around 2,500.
So husband, wife, kid,
Kid, yeah.
2,500.
Because you need to get a bigger apartment where you pay more rent to go out sometimes and eat outside. So it will, I would say the major part of it is in rent, and then you can keep 600 or maybe 800 for for the monthly expenses,
Right.
for your groceries and for other stuff.
And that's a pretty broad window, though.
Yeah.
Then how much salary I should have if that is the
Yeah.
expense?
A person coming over here, he has to decide his own figure,
Mhm.
right? It can be different for someone who is living alone.
Yeah.
It can be different for someone who has just wife, and it
Yes.
will be different who is coming over here with a kid,
Right.
right? And then you have other financial commitments in India or in back home.
Yes.
You have to consider those, add up those, and that should be your salary, right?
Wow.
But
you don't want to give a figure, right?
yeah,
What is figure?
I don't want to give a figure.
On one side you have a lot of salary, but on the other hand side you also have a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
But the journey is between both of them. Like, how can we manage everything, but at the same time save also some
Save
money,
also,
right? Imagine there's someone who is talking to you now.
Yes.
This person's question is, after having exact profile like yours,
Okay.
in terms of responsibility also when
Yeah.
it comes to family,
Yeah.
and skills also,
Yeah.
would you suggest that I should take a risk and go for a job seeker's visa, or I should apply jobs sitting at home in India only?
Totally depends on the person and his financial commitments. So
Correct.
I had financial commitments. I could not just leave the job and go
Exactly.
for job seekers. So I decided to apply from there itself.
Mhm.
But yes, if you don't have any financial commitment and if you can afford to come over here for 6 months, definitely you should give it a try. It will be much easier as compared to sitting at home.
Right.
Because you can go to the office, meet face to face, and the process become much faster basically
Correct.
as compared to the person who's sitting over there in India. Because look from the employer's perspective as well. I mean, if I have to give a job to someone who's sitting back in India, it requires a cost at my end as well.
Yes.
And if the person is already here, I can meet him anytime,
Yes.
right? I can call him. We can have the flexibility of rounds of interviews, and flexibility in terms of time, and the process become much easier.
Very important note. Yes, what you just said is it gives the flexibility to employers, and that is extremely important. It already shows the commitment levels what you have when you come on a job seeker's visa. You have already given up on a lot of things
Yeah.
back home, and you've won the battle in the room when you sit for an interview, I guess, right?
Yes, I mean, getting to the first round is also it's difficult over here because
Yes.
obviously my preference, if I look, I'll always call the person who is already here rather
Correct.
than the person who's there in India, because at the back of my mind it's always the relocation cost coming already in my in the picture.
Right.
So
Definitely, there is a difference between when you sit miles away on your comfort couch and
Yeah.
apply for a job versus
Yeah.
struggling here, looking
here,
out for a job
yeah.
every single day. So yeah, thank you, Deepak, for coming on my channel. It was fruitful conversation. I hope you
Yeah.
liked it. I will soon connect you with some talented people.
sure.
But yeah, there is a process which we will follow. Make sure that you come on the workshops which we are conducting in different cities, so that I'll be able to meet you personally, and I'm 100% sure I will connect you with some talented people and their resumes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
All right. So if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye guys.